It was me.
Okay. And I'm sweaty from the gym, so you can mention that too. I do it all.
We're live. And we are live. It's your favorite insurance agent, DarnaldJr. This is Finlit Live. What's up, Finlit Live family? If you're tuning in live, go ahead and put in the chat #live. If you're watching a replay, put #replay. Today's show is going to be a little bit more serious because we are going to talk to a lady who's been widowed unexpectedly. Like nobody ever expects to be widowed, right? And so she has some tips and tricks and pointers for us as far as what we should do to prepare and how to handle it after it does happen. So this is a topic that I don't find many YouTubers talking about. So I think this is super important because, like I said, life happens, the unexpected happens. So we have some tips and tricks for you guys. So stay tuned and get lit. All right. Without any further ado, I'd like to bring on Dr. Melissa Rodriguez.
Hi.
Hey, Dr. How's it going?
Hi, Darnold. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I appreciate you for taking time out your busy schedule. I know you have a lot going on. Your practice is growing, you're transitioning, but you still took time out to be on the show tonight to share with the audience. So before we go ahead and get started, go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you, where are you from, and what are you up to?
So, my name is Melissa Rodriguez-Shuptrine. I'm a doctor of chiropractic from Houston, Texas.
Excellent. So, Houston in the house representing.
Houston, go Astros. I know y'all hate
right?
me for that, but
they've been struggling, haven't they?
I know.
They
we're gonna make it. We're the clutch team. We do well away games, so I'm still.
Yeah. They call us Clutch City.
Yes.
We're down 0-2 to the Texas Rangers.
Yes. We love when America hates us. That's when we perform the best.
We love when America hates us. I love it.
Yeah.
We love our haters.
We love it.
So awesome. Well, this is a subject that not many people think about ever. And usually it's something people are blindsided by when it happens. And most people don't know what to do or how to respond. And I know you're still a little bit in the grieving process, so we want to be respectful for that. So we appreciate your vulnerability, and I know your heart, and that's why I wanted to bring you back on the show, because I know your heart is to help people.
Yes.
And so if you have any questions, and if you're tuning in live, go ahead and type that in the chat as we're having our conversation. But I definitely I appreciate you for sharing this topic because, like I said, not many people talk about it. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's hear the story, the backstory, like how you guys met and you and your husband, and then go from there.
Okay. I hope I don't cry, but I'm going to do my best. So my husband, Kyle Shuptrine, and I met at a mutual friend's house. We're both nerds, love playing board games. And actually, I was finishing up chiropractic school when I first started to kind of peak interest. We've been playing at my friend Sherry's house for a couple of years now, and then whenever you're a student, you're just like so focused, and you're like, boyfriends, what? I don't know. But after I graduated, we hit it off. We fell in love really fast. we only dated like 3 months, and we were proposed. And our first son was 2018. We got married at 2016. Um, and we had our first son Luke 2018, and then Maverick, we had him in pandemic in 2020. And then unfortunately he passed away with an aortic aneurysm in 2021 of July. So I lived life. I always tell my friends, like, I feel like I'm a 50-year-old stuck in a 33-year-old body, because I literally have loved somebody, still love him. I'm I still do. Still very much in love with my husband. And taking him through his happy times, being there for the most rewarding thing is it was a pleasure and an honor to be his wife, and carrying him through and taking care of him through, um, unfortunately, the most difficult time of his life, and essentially having to deal with uh, seeing him pass to the next life. I'm a Christian, so I do have a lot of views about death and the afterlife, and it does help with grieving, knowing where you're going, knowing you know essentially that he's no longer in pain, and suffering on this earth. I've been 2 years out, so there has been a lot of internal struggles. I still struggle with grief, and I'm stubborn. I don't want to. I'm a realist as well, and unfortunately for me, it's like, if I can't do something about the problem, I don't want to dwell in it. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to work out and fight somebody. I'm in jujitsu because it helps me with anger. But but it's been a struggle, and so I really wanted to talk about it. Like, one of my passions is trying to get people not to suffer the way I struggled, because I was unprepared, and I'm probably the most unprepared, unorganized person I know. uh, and dealing with emotions, and having to have a lot of responsibility, not only for yourself but for two young children, is extremely difficult. And whenever you asked me to come back on the show again, and I was just like, I gotta talk about this, because I want to help somebody um, in my position. Fortunately, I was very grateful that I have this profession, and essentially getting back into. I was already in the workforce when he passed away. I was part-time, but full-time was an easy transition, because at that time in 2020, we were suffering a pandemic, and lease spaces were open, and this was my opportunity to take that. And I was actually going to close, but the Lord, helped me out in that situation. Unfortunately, I had um, a falling out on the person who was helping me out at the time. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. uh I had a kind of like a hiccup there, but uh grief, losing somebody, uh kind of builds character. Obviously, loss does build character. It builds resiliency. It helped me to see the important things in life, what really matters, what is and essentially it kind of wakes you up in your complacency, and makes you move, because it's just like survival mode. The first year, and I kind of just want to talk to the widows and the widowers. The first year, you're basically surviving. You find this sympathetic, the fight or flight uh, phase, and you're just trying to make it, and you don't really have time to grieve, and especially if you have children, you just don't have time. You could cry in the car, you cry in the shower, you cry at random places where you feel safe to cry, and that's when you cry. You don't. You really have. I really had a hard time crying with my kids because I felt that I didn't want to make them sad. I would have conversations with my son, whenever I would feel extremely uh, unable to mask my emotions, and I would say, mommy's having a real hard time. I'm going to go outside for a minute, and he would understand, like, okay, because he's going through grief. Your your kids are very smart. They're also very resilient, but they're very smart, and they know when you're sad and when you're going through a difficult situation, and they do sympathize. And I try not to lie to my son, to my kids. Maverick was a little younger at the time that Kyle passed away, but Luke is. I feel like his emotional intelligence. Um, Obviously he feels like he's now the leader of the pack, and he has to protect his mother, which is really cute. He has conversations with me about death. Also, it's very, like, because it's so real, and now it's whenever you this is our first person that my first person that has ever died. My mother is still alive. My father's still alive. I never got to know my grandparents. This is the first person that was close to me that passed away, and it's just like, what? And since then, unfortunately, I had a lot of other people pass away in my life, but I was kind of just now used to it, I guess. Losing somebody wasn't like foreign, and there was of course, there's a lot of stuff that you get brought up. Uh, but what I want to talk about today, just to kind of jump in on it, is or organizing your expenses during your times of grief. So I would honestly, if you have a loved one to do this for you or with you, somebody that you trust, um, and I understand, I've met widows. I'm in this group. It's called it's a Facebook group, that have support groups for widows and widowers, and I joined them from like day one, because uh, I needed somebody. You need somebody to that has been through it, because unfortunately your loved ones are going to say the wrong thing to you, but they love you, but they just don't know. Grief is very uncomfortable subject to talk about, and people just don't want to talk about it. You're going to lose friends and family that you thought were with you, and they're just gone because they just don't want to be sad with you, unfortunately. But
Mhm.
you find friends that are already sad, and so you've built this bond.
That
And
makes sense.
I have developed a lot of widow friends because of it, because they get you. um so one thing that I would do is find somebody that you trust to sit there and close like credit card accounts uh, that are related to your husband. I unfortunately had to like call T-Mobile to like because it was under his name, everything. So I had to close his part and put it under mine. Well, they were giving me such a hard time, and I needed to cut expenses, and that's a really prudent thing to do when you lose somebody, is try to save as much money as you can, in the process of waiting for either your social security check, and all those things. Like if you need help filing for all those things, that would be something that you need to reach out to somebody to help you through the process, because there's like a lot of paper. No, it's not like a lot of paperwork, but there's the IRS wants to make sure that there's no fraudulent or somebody that's trying to fraud the government. So the death certificates, you need multiple copies of them. So usually they'll say, oh, how many copies of death certificates do you need? You want like 10 or
Yeah.
11, because I had to get one to T-Mobile. T-Mobile will
Hmm.
not shut his account without me giving them a death certificate. And there's going to be some other places where you want to close an account, and they're like, okay, we need the death certificate. So you always essentially just don't need it just for the funeral, but you need it for other things too. So get extra copies just to save some time. Um, and plan a budget. And it's something that just like you can jot down with a friend again, whenever you're closing down, his credit cards or her credit cards. All this stuff is going to bring a lot of grief that you don't want to do this by yourself. Don't do it by yourself, if you can't. That's also uh, another tip that I would do is I would I would start organizing their things where you kind of don't want to be hoarding things. Okay, that's my problem right
Mm.
now. Is like I have all his stuff, so have not touched anything, and it's just like an emotional thing. I know for this eventually that I'm having to go through all of it, but it's so overwhelming right now that I wish I could have just taken the time to like organize, like maybe go out Home Depot and get like shelves and like set aside maybe in the garage or something and start putting their things together so that you can see at least like, okay, these are, it's organized. It's
Mhm.
still there in your house, but it's at least in a place where you can, it's not taking up the living room, it's not taking up his room. There's still things that you're gonna need throughout the year. I'm only 2 years out and I still haven't went through his things, so there's things that I'm gonna have to do eventually. I think that you need to prioritize your life. There's some things that you need to get rid of, like if uh if you're in a financial crisis, when you're grieving, that's just like extra stuff. So, what I would do if you didn't have life insurance, which I recommend everyone getting, and I recommend everyone writing what they want, as down to what kind of flowers they want, down to what they want to do with the remains. I've been through a lot of like these Facebook posts where there's like people fighting for
Mm.
remains, people fighting for houses. Um, you gotta do, if you love each other and do it at a time where you guys are like, let's just get this out of the way, but it just has to be a stepping, it just has to do it in the beginning. Like, I know you guys are going to get married, but just like go ahead and say, okay, I do now, we're going to go and get some life insurance, and we're going to plan our funerals, and we're going to make sure that everything is set so that in case something happens, unfortunately, things happen. People pass away every day. That you're not stuck uh, at a difficult time trying to figure out how to respect the loved one, your loved
Mm.
one that just passed away. So it is extremely important to take care of your family. Even my husband's taking care of me still to this day, and because we were smart about it, and he was smart, but he was smarter than me. Um, and you don't want to be sidetracked with that, so that's extremely important. um and if you need to get back into the workforce, I know I've also talked to a lot of like widows who need to get back into the workforce. Yes, I know you do. Just breathe right now because you just lost your husband, and it's going to be okay. They, a lot of times right now, I'm seeing on Facebook and social media that they go to GoFundMe pages. Don't blow that. Okay, don't, please, for the love of God, do not blow all that money. Be
Mm.
prudent and put it in a good like emergency fund. You can put it in a Schwab account that will collect interest over time, and make that an emergency fund. I think a really good place to start for financial literacy. I don't know if you agree with this, Darno, but he used to be Christian. What's his name? Help me out here.
Are you talking about Dave Ramsey?
Dave Ramsey. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dave Ramsey's pretty good about emergency funds. He's like,
Yeah.
you got to put $100 in an emergency fund. That's like, thing number one. But it is literally like that important because you are the sole provider of your family. You're the sole provider for your children. And if they break their arm, you're gonna have to take them to the hospital and fork over those $3,000. Okay, I've been
Mm.
there and done that. Luke did that. He jumped off the market bars, and I can fractured, wrist, and I'm having to, fork over like so much money, and that money goes away like this, like water. Okay, so be smart about how you're spending your money. Um, those mothers that are trying to get back into the workforce, this is a time to reach out to your loved ones. This is a time to reach out to your church family, because it is their duty to uh to care for the widows and and it's biblical. Show them if they're giving you any kind of grief, just show them where it is in the Bible. It says, "Hey, you're
They're
responsible
the
for me."
widows and the orphans.
Yes, and the orphans, like, you're responsible for me. Say,
That's funny.
I don't think anybody will turn you away. but but I've encountered some mamas that are needing extra help when it comes to either groceries and things like that. But there's so many people that are wanting to help their community in some type of way, and this is a really great opportunity to bring people together and actually build like relationships. You never know who you're going to meet whenever you're in need, and everybody needs some help nowadays. And if it's you, then I would encourage you to reach out to your local church and say, look, listen, I just lost my husband, I need help with groceries. And now they can do it as simple as these apps that bring groceries to you. There's also some pantries that come out through twice a week that you can pick up and then just buy like the meats or whatever it is that you like at grocery stores. So just saving money here and there. And, another thing that I would mention is trimming unnecessary things. That can also be people too. There's some people in your lives right now that is bringing you down, and they just don't get it. And even if you have lost your husband, they just still are. They're just, they are who they are. And those people you probably just need to distance yourself from. You don't need the extra drama in your life. If it's a family member, sorry, you don't you this is my time to need some grace and compassion, and if you're not willing to give that to me, then we need to distance ourselves for a little bit. um, because I've always been, a brought up Christian, and say, okay, we need to turn the other cheek, and we need to, I'm like, no, not today, Lord. Not today. Not today. So that's also trimming unnecessary things. That also could be your Netflix account. It also can be subscriptions that are those if anything, that if you some things that you can't afford at this time and moment, whether that are necessities. And also, you can also argue that your mental health is a necessity because you are caring for your children. So if you need counseling and it's costing you something, it is worth it, because you cannot run your house without you being um, at some type of capacity mentally okay. You're not going to be for a long time. And I'm still not like 100% there. I have a you get this widow fog. Well, I had this before Kyle, and this is extra worse now. So there's a lot of stuff that you're gonna forget. And it's normal. There's a lot of people that are your roller coaster of emotions are gonna go up and down between anger, depression. Um, you're just riding it, and there's a lot of like insecurities that are things in your past life that you didn't resolve, uh trauma that you didn't resolve. All that comes back. And all that comes back, and it's it's like you're gonna face this, and we're gonna have to deal with this also, you know uh for that you can go on to the next level. Go into to a normal, to your new normal, because you're not the same person. I always tell people that I'm not the same person as you once knew me. I'm a new Melissa because
Mm.
I felt like a part of me died with
Mm.
Kyle, and now this is the survival Melly, the the person that is now uh, carrying on his legacy with his children. And it's made me stronger. I don't know. I don't feel stronger. I just, unfortunately, there is no other way. I feel a moral responsibility to not only his children but his family. Yeah, his mother unfortunately is a widow and lost her son. So something about that to me is just, and I understand a lot of things with people who grieve multiple people in their lives that are immediate family. It's just unfortunate, um, and I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that she's taken care of. So there's people that you add onto your lives. Some people that you let go, and some people that you're gonna meet that is gonna help you through your walk. So again, I think the savings we did talk about, opening interest bearing account. There's going to be a lot of people. If you have life insurance, and if you have, some people have like now attained all this money. Okay, what you need to do is don't tell anybody. Number one,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
you should not be posting that on Facebook because there are predators, and I don't care how strong you are going to fall.
Mm.
Okay, there's gonna be people that are gonna try to seduce you, that are gonna say, oh, I need help in this kind of way, and it's like, no, I don't. What? I'm broke. Okay, I don't have any money. I don't have nothing. Okay. And then that's again why it's important to have a living will, have a living trust, because now you're not fighting family for that money. There's a lot of people on Facebook right now that are fighting because the husband gave their mother-in-law all the money, or the kids the money, and not the spouse, or all the spouse, and now the family members are fighting for this. So you need to write it out, and so that they can say, "Look, this is what my spouse wanted. It has nothing to
Mm.
do with me. I'm respecting the wishes of my spouse." So that's the stuff that you need to make sure that that is easy for that to happen. Easy
Absolutely.
transition. What you want uh, after you're gone. So I know there's a lot of people that talk about Roth IRAs. I know that they don't incur interest. Anything is better than putting it in the bank, is what I would say, because you're not incurring any kind of interest. I
Mm.
wouldn't spend. I would not spend any money. Come on, guys, no money. Do not spend a dime the first year, because you're out of your mind. Don't buy a house. Don't buy a house. Do not do it. Do not.
Mm.
You're
Are you
you're
speaking from experience?
grieving. Go buy a dog.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yes, yes, yes. Don't do it. You're gonna want to run away, because unfortunately you feel like you're in the pit, and you're like, I want to get out of this location. This is so depressing. I get it. It's not going to change your circumstances, but moving to a place where a year later you're going to sell because you're going to have different things happen to you. It's the grief. There's going to be grief buys that you do, like, oh, I'm going to go buy a car. Don't do that. What's wrong
Mm.
with your car? Nothing's wrong with it. Nope. Don't do it, because you're going to it just trust me on this. Do not spend your money the first year. Okay. Put it into a savings account, whether it be a Schwab account, a Roth IRA. and even if you want like a financial, I think going to get some financial help if you're not very financially prudent is something smart to do for your future and your kids' future. So, paying off debt is obvious. It's an obvious one. If your loved one has incurred debt, obviously, a death certificate there. You're not entitled to pay for those debts because of his passing. The only thing that uh, uh, I think even student loans. I have so much student loans in my neck. I just,
Josephine
I
or Dr.
remember
What?
having I remember having this class whenever you graduate, and the guy's like, even when you die, like they will follow you. I was like, I
Wow.
don't know if that's true, but I mean, like, you know what? You're gonna get $1 a day. Oh no, a
all,
dollar a month, $1 a day would actually be like $30, but still, um,
all you could do is all you could do.
all you can do is all you can do. Funerals are not cheap.
No.
Funerals, a basic funeral is like $15,000, maybe
Wow.
even $30,000. And 15,000. This has spent 15,000 on my husband's because we used our church, and that's what he would have wanted. I know he would have been. He was very avid in church. He was in upwards basketball. He that was his family. It's still his family. So I know that he what I gave him was what he wanted, and they don't they ask you for that money today. They don't. There's no payment plans. There's not. Oh, you can write it after a week or so to get. No, it's like the check is where, and then you're like crying and sobbing because this person is not sympathetic. No, it's a business. Unfortunately, funeral homes is a business. So you have to also be careful with that. But you also have to note that all this can be planned before when you two are alive. You can go to the funeral home and start making payments on that so that your loved ones are not like scrambling for money, doing barbecues, fundraisers and stuff like that. I had a fundraiser for Kyle. My family's church, my sister's church helped me out in Baytown. That my sister is a pastor's wife, and their family, their church family. I am indebted to them because they've helped me out um, in my time in here. I had a lot of support. I was very blessed having a lot of support when my husband passed away. I had two churches um, helping me out through this process, and I felt it, and I'm so grateful for them. I'm very grateful for the people that came to my life at the worst time in my life. My best friend came from Colorado to just sit with me. Yeah, um, it is it's unbelievable how losses can really open your eyes and see the people who are there, who will always be there for you and always have your back. And people that there's some people that won't, that you think that had your back, and where are they now? There's there's times like that, and I'm not one of them. All those people that I knew that were going to be there were there. And I'm very grateful for that. I love all of them, and I will bury a body for all of them too.
Right?
Ride or die.
Better die.
On all of I don't know. But that's why I honestly think that that's your support group should help you in this process. Should help you in making sure that you're taking care of. A lot of people that in your life right now, they're gonna, I say, what do I do to help you out? What you can say is, you know what, I don't have any energy to cook. Can you make me frozen dinners and just freeze them up in your freezer and just have them in the crock pot when want to just go in your room and not come out? There's dinner for you. There's dinner for your kids. Have an organized hour by hour a routine for your kids and yourself. Like 8 a.m. This is when I wake up. This is when I have breakfast. This is when I take the kids. It's like because you're going to forget and you're not going to want to do it. But if you have it there, visible, where you can see it and it's color coded, and you're like, okay, you have to take it hour by hour. You have to literally take it minute by minute, because you're not going to have the energy. You're not going to have the want to, but you're just going to have to find it in you to do the things that are on that board, and keep a calendar right there, right next to it, for important dates, important, meetings, doctor's appointments, and things like that. And you need to have time for yourself, whether it be just like going to, you know get the kids in the car and go out in the park and do something completely different, then do that. Like, have them run around where you can cry under the tree while they're running and playing, and you can just, let it out.
For sure. Wow.
But it happens. It's a norm. It's normal, and that's why, in the beginning, I hated counseling. I hated the idea of it. I just didn't understand it. I'm a Latina. We just build our emotions upon the emotions that we already suppressed down from childhood, and this was nothing different. I could not run away from grief, though. It would creep up on me. It literally made me sick. Like, I had moments where, like, called up Shannon. I'm like, unfortunately, my best friend had also lost her daughter, and so she was like my go-to person. Okay, I feel like I'm out of my body, and I'm in, like, I'm not in in my right mind. Do I need to call the hospital? It's like, no, this is normal. I'm like, oh, I just did not know this. But all those things, sometimes you need medication for. I'm a stubborn chiropractor, so I will not take meds. But I do exercise a lot, and I just came from the gym. Um, there's a lot of stuff that you're gonna try to find that's therapeutic, and that's essential. It's worth it. It's worth your money. Um, if it's something to do with your mental health, it is worth your time and your money. It is. And you need to do it for your kids. If they resources is what I also want to talk about. There's like a lot of resources for continuing education for those who are going back into the workforce that are free. Okay, go contact your um, contact the community colleges. Sorry, and tell them, look, listen, I'm continuing education. I need something quick and fast, and I just need to get to work. And there's some programs that you can work while you're going to school. So there, oh, especially trades are awesome. I know for a fact that electrical work for, like, my widowers, or widows, who wanted to be an electrician. Uh, I know that some of the unions will pay you, and you also can go to school. So
Nice.
there's a lot of stuff that you can, obviously healthcare. You can get into a very short amount of time and get to work. But like I said, you have to prioritize your life in order for you to find time to do these things, because a lot of things are going to be so overwhelming for you. So you need to come to a moment where you're able to do things on your own, and then you can find that step of enrolling into community college and getting that career, because you can do it. I mean, you already done the worst thing in your whole life, and that's surviving a loved one. This is nothing. It's cakewalk. You go in there, show up, or even online now. That's great. There's a lot of stuff that you can do online. You don't have to go anywhere. You can still watch your babies. Court reporting school is one of them. Court reporter. My sister is a stenographer, and she's incredible. And it is it's a tough career to get into, but whenever you do it, you get. I mean, she's she's so successful. She is also taking care of her baby, and she's doing it at the same time as being a mother, as being a pastor's wife, and she's still finding time to be financially She has her husband, but still, I mean, she's making really good money doing court reporting. So encourage my widows to if they're passionate about that and still wanting to have to like stay home, that court reporting is a really good option to do. There's a lot of stuff right now that I think IT is something that a lot of people are getting into, that there's you can essentially work from home. So right now, this in this economy, in this new generation, that there's a lot of opportunities for mothers who are still child caring to do it both, to do it at the same time. So have you work at home, but you're also watching your kids. So I encourage people just to take a deep breath. You know, there's a reason why you're on this. You're watching me talk about this. It's going to be okay. And unfortunately, you're going to be angry at the world for a very long time, and you just got to get all of that energy and focus it on positive things and not rely on the negative, because the negative is not going to be productive for you. Only the positive. Only just stick to, you know what, I know the circumstances around me are they suck, but you know what, at least I had and then pick whatever good thing you had that day and focus on that. My sons really saved my life. The Lord saved my life, first of all. Okay. I could not
Amen.
have done it without God. I could not sit here and tell you guys that I did not need a lot of prayer. I did not need a lot of interceding from. I needed a whole lot of that. Okay.
Mm.
But what he gave me was my children. If my children were not here, I would not have a fuel to keep me moving forward and not sit in my sadness and die, because I actually had a heart attack.
Oh,
I
you
went to
did?
the doctor. I did. I went to the doctor, and they said that my heart, the markers were elevated, and I did have a heart attack when shortly after my husband passed away and everything happened. And I felt a lot of chest pain, so I was like, this is weird. It's not. It's not anything musculoskeletal going on, so let me just get it checked. And that happened. But there's actually uh, people that pass away from a broken heart. That's
Mm-hmm.
actually a real thing.
It is.
But Dolores like, nah, you ain't getting it out that easy. No,
The devil is
you got a lot
alive.
of work to do, and you have children. No, so
Awesome.
so
Well,
so yeah, it's a difficult grief is difficult there, but fortunately there's a lot of people that are willing to help you out, and I think that to me is essential. You need people in your life right now.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Well, Melissa, I definitely like to applaud you for your courage, for your resilience, for your steadfastness, for your care for your kids, and that you're a business owner on top of going through all this, and you keep going. So you are one strong woman, not just physically because you freaking do CrossFit, but you are strong on the inside, and I like to encourage you in that. So I appreciate you for sharing your journey. It's super emotional, but I have a feeling it's definitely going to encourage somebody out there. So I appreciate you for sharing that
Thank
and the
you, thank you
lessons
for
that
having me, and I hope this helped somebody today.
absolutely. And if somebody's going through something similar and they need maybe a shoulder to cry on or just advice or tips or tricks to what to do, like let's say their spouse did pass and they do have a big life insurance settlement coming in, like how can they reach out to you to get a hold of you to possibly reach out to you?
Well, I would love for them to. I think I have Facebook. I think that's really good to just message me on Facebook, or they can email me, and I can maybe give you the link, or I'm sure I type it or just say it. I don't know.
Yeah, you can say it and then type it in the
Okay.
chat. I'll put it in the comments.
Okay, so it's going to be Melissa Shuptrine at yahoo.com. It's MELISSASHUPTRINE at yahoo.com. And then email me and I can get back to you. And I can help you through this process of at least, getting you to the right people to talk to.
Absolutely, because I know you're very well connected. You have a lot of different resources,
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
with what you've been through.
Yes.
So
Yes.
appreciate you for sharing that. And if you ever need your back crack,
Yeah.
go see Doctor.
No, crack addicts.
At least she's a
Yes.
crack addict.
Yes. I help.
You
I
got
help
your back.
go adjustment. Yes.
Don't be
Yes.
cheesy.
Relieve the
Can
stress.
we say?
A shoulder to cry on. I'm
Shoulder
your
to cry
girl.
on and the back to
I'm your
crack.
girl. Yes, I'm your girl. I'm here in I'm located at 4335 East Sam Houston Parkway, Houston, Texas 77015. And then our telephone number is 346-606-1888. And we're open Monday through Friday, Saturdays appointments. And I would love to sit for you and consult you on everything. Let's just work on everything, all your physical, emotional, and mental needs.
And she specializes in truckers, so if you know any
Oh
truckers,
yeah, my truck drivers. That's actually a really good thing to get into too. It's a good continuing education there with CDLs. I can do your medical cards. So also we do examinations for CDL
DOT
drivers,
physical.
DOT physicals. So we do that at the office as well.
And they're really good at what they do.
Yes.
So
Yes. I love my team. It's a team effort. I love it. My friend just makes me look great. This is the best.
awesome. Well, I appreciate you for taking time out your schedule and
All
being
right.
on the show.
Well,
And
thank you so much, Donna, for having me. I always have fun.
yeah, absolutely. Until next time, right?
All right. Yes, of course.
All right. Have a good evening.
All right. You too. Bye.
So if you got any value out of today's show, go ahead and smash that like button. I know I let it go a little bit longer than normal, but I felt like it would be valuable for those that need to hear this show because there's somebody out there that just lost a loved one, whether it's a spouse or a parent or even a kid. And most people are blindsided when people go through something like that. So if you know anybody in that specific type of situation, go ahead and share the show with them. And that way people could be prepared because most people are blindsided by it. And so I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And we have the show every Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, live. So that way you could get your questions answered too. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for getting lit.